Hi, I'm Michelle Lashinsky with the Fort Collins Police Department. How are you this evening?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm a school resource officer at Lesher Middle School, and I'm here today to talk to you about drug trends in schools. How old are your kids?
15 and 9.
I think we went over that, huh?
Last class, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So first we're going to go over alcohol and energy drinks. And what a lot of the middle school and high school kids are doing these days is mixing energy drinks and alcohol use. Alcohol, in my opinion, used to be more popular with kids, but now these days with the medical marijuana kind of stuff that we're going to go over, the marijuana is definitely easier to get than alcohol. So Red Bull and vodka, you'll see that sometimes mixed. So kids are walking around with Red Bull having slurred speech, blurred eyes, red bloodshot eyes. We always want to, when we have machines, but we always want to check and make sure that they didn't spike their Red Bull with something. School district now, Poudre School District doesn't allow those in the school. They don't sell them or anything like that. So kids are usually getting them at gas stations. So Jaeger bombs. Four Loko has 12% alcohol, and that is now being pulled off of a lot of the shelves because of the alcohol content. Kids were just drinking those in mass quantities and getting the alcohol out of it. And it was legal at the time. So it's a combination of stimulants and depressants, which confuses the brain, causing the person to feel less drunk and to drink to excess. So energy and alcohol, drunkenness is masked by the caffeine, and they're prone to intoxication by mixing the alcohol and the caffeine. And so just like I said, they started pulling them off the shelves, and as of November of 2010, it is now illegal. More prominent these days that we see with kids is the marijuana. It is most commonly used drug in the United States, and it's made up of dried parts of the cannabis sativa hemp plant. It's taken orally by smoking or can be baked in foods. We've seen kids make brownies. We've seen kind of like the suckers, but they melt down candy, hard candy, and mix it in there. So you think they're eating candy, but really it's got marijuana in it. It's also known as pot, ganga, weed, grass, 420, astroturf, Mary Jane, doobie. There's a lot of nicknames for it. A lot. So the effects of that are euphoria, distorted perceptions, memory impairment, and difficulty thinking and problem solving. And due to the accessibility of marijuana in our community, 18-year-olds can obtain a medical marijuana license, which increases the accessibility for younger youth to access it. So medical marijuana is now a science where they're mixing it. You can get different strengths at some of these head shops that sell it, and it has become more of a potent marijuana. The positive to that is they're now passing laws to where they all have to close down their shops by January 1st, I believe it is. Yep. So that's good. Robo-tripping, have you ever heard of that? You see this a lot too because this can be bought over the counter like Robitussin. Coricidin and things like that, kids were abusing so much that they have pulled those off of the shelves. You now have to go to the pharmacist and ask for that. The last time I did it, they even had me sign a form with my name and my number, so they must keep track. That was King Super, so certain places keep track of it. So the effects of that are visual hallucination, poor balance, increased pulse and blood pressure, loss of consciousness and muscle control, mania, meaning they're paranoid and antsy, and seizures and stroke, coma, brain damage, and overdose in some extreme cases, resulting in death. So what we see is kids really sweating profusely, hallucinating. They can sit there and talk to you, but their legs don't work, kind of thing. And so you call for an ambulance. They don't know what they're on. So it's pretty serious. Prescription abuse has become more popular. Painkillers and sedative prescription drugs are identified by the CDC as the leading categories of overdose-related drugs. More women experienced fatalities from overdose than men during the time span of '94 to 2004, with an increase of more than 100%. And people in the age demographic of 15 to 24 showed a tremendous increase in overdose-related deaths at 113%. So in December of 2008, a survey of high school seniors reported that more than 15% of the seniors had used prescription for non-medical reasons. And the prescriptions that we're talking about are like painkillers, something you might get if you had knee surgery or had your tonsils removed. And so kids are using like hydrocodone or Xanax, things like that, Percocet, and they're either orally ingesting them or sometimes they crush them and then snort them. Kids with ADD use Wellbutrin, that kind of thing, and Ritalin, and they crush that and they snort that. So if any of your kids are on that medication, definitely monitor it. Keep your prescriptions, if you have any, locked up for safety reasons. And keep track of the numbers. I always tell the parents, keep track of the, if you do use it for a couple weeks, either get rid of the prescription, because now a lot of the communities are having prescription days where you can drop off prescriptions, and we're having a lot of success with that because parents just want to get it out of their house and away from their kids. So also know, in my opinion, know who's in your house, because it may not be your 15-year-old son. It might be his 16-year-old girlfriend is addicted to Xanax or something, and so if she could come in and steal it as well. So inhalants is another one. Inhalants is a breathable chemical vapor that's used to intentionally inhale because of the mind-altering effects, and it's household products that contain these volatile solvents, aerosols, or gases. Street names for that is whippets, poppers, snappers, highball, buzz bomb, and huffing. And it's a rapid high, resembling alcohol intoxication, produces a loss of sensation and even unconsciousness. Irreversible effects can be hearing loss, limb spasms, brain damage, and can result in heart failure or suffocation due to the displacement of oxygen in the lungs. So working in a middle school, some of the cases I've seen is kids going out and they'll come to school, their face is just red around their mouth from just putting their mouth right up to a gas tank and huffing the fumes from the gas tank. And every time they do that, it's killing brain cells. And some other ones I've seen is, let me see, last year we had a group of girls that were shoplifting the dust off that you would use to spray off your computer key. Because it's not illegal, they can walk in and they could purchase it. Ironically, they were not. They were going in and shoplifting it. But they were coming to school and appearing like they were intoxicated. And then we found in the trash cans at the school the empty aerosol, the empty cans. So, and the hard part about the inhalants is some contain chemicals that I can charge, inhaling toxic vapors, some do not. So this particular form of dust-off did not contain those chemicals, so the only charge I had was to go back and catch them shoplifting it. So got a little creative to get them into the system, to get them some treatment, some help. Spice and K2, that is a synthetic cannabinoid. It was marketed as an incense, not for human consumption, and the high lasts 20 or 30 minutes to 2 hours, and the effects are very similar to marijuana. Elevated blood pressure and heart rate, anxiety, hallucinations, severe paranoia, and nausea. So that was being sold over the counters and even at gas stations there for about a year until the government came in and made that illegal as well. Just noting how dangerous it is for kids. So there's some videos there that were really good, but we can't get them to go. So you'll have to watch the website for that. So good news, as of July 1st, 2011, legislation made it a Class 5 felony to sell or distribute, cultivate any quantity of a synthetic cannabinoid, being that called K2 or Spice. And then as of January 1st, 2012, it's a Class 2 misdemeanor for use or to possess it. And drug tests now detect it. So a lot of the teenagers there for about a year, year and a half, were not using marijuana if they were on probation or parents were giving them random tests. They were using this Spice or K2 instead because it wasn't being detected. And of course, with technology, scientists went out there and found a urine test that detected that as well. A little bit more popular these days now, and we don't really know a lot about it, is the bath salts. But they're designer or synthetic drugs containing amphetamine-like substances such as methadone, NDPV, which are similar to amphetamine-like substances found in cat or quack. So its concentrated bath salt products are widely available on the internet, can be found in stores, truck stops, gas stations under the name like Zoom 2, Aura, Vanilla Sky, Ivory Wave, or White Rush. Methadone, so what it does is it stimulates the central nervous system. So it's a lot like speed or that kind of a stimulant, causes a okay, you can cut this, right? Sympathomy, you can cut it. Reaction with occasional psychological symptoms such as delusions, paranoia, psychosis, and hallucinations. The most profound side effect from large overdoses includes seizure, kidney failure, and sometimes death. So it's just like amphetamines and cocaine, you know, increases your heart rate, that kind of thing. Can be snorted, smoked, injected, and also mixed with alcoholic beverages. Recreationally, the drug's use was intended to be a legal synthetic high, much like that of K2 or Spice. But in the street value of a half gram package generally costs 25 to 30. So currently it's banned in other places, but not here yet. Several US states. So there are plans and bills in Congress that are looking to impose that nationwide ban. Meow Meow is one of the newest drugs, methadone, legally bought over the internet, where it's often advertised as plant feed or fertilizer. When taken as a tablet or snorted as a powder, it gives a similar high to ecstasy, and abuse has taken off in the UK over the past couple years. So usually when it hits in other parts of the country or nation, we slowly see it then come our way. Yopo, Fort Collins police had just recently contacted a 30-year-old male under a very strong influence of what he called Yopo, threatening people with a hatchet. He was psychotic, delusional, and hallucinating. He appeared to feel no pain, and it was not possible to reason with him. The effect was very similar to bath salts or PCP. So what people are doing is they're just getting really smart with these drugs, and they're starting to mix them. Yeah. So as law enforcement, it's really hard to stay one step ahead of them. So when officers contacted him, he wasn't holding the hatchet in his hand, or officers may have had to take some lethal action. At the time, we'd never heard of this drug. It's also called DMT, or Dirty Mountain Tea. Can be snorted or mixed with tea, which is how this particular subject ingested it. So I've included a website there that you can go to and learn some more about it. So, and that's usually how we get our knowledge, is we have an incident, we get exposed to it by contacting people, either in a mental health condition or needing medical care, or a criminal case, and then we ourselves learn about it in that manner. So some warning signs to watch with your teenager. And we can talk a little bit more about this at the end. Is skipping class, grades drop, suddenly getting into trouble at school, unexplained need for money or financial problems, may borrow or steal to get it, so they may take one of your items and go pawn it, engage in secretive or suspicious behaviors, demands more privacy, locking doors, avoiding eye contact, sneaking around. You're missing money, valuables, maybe some of your own prescriptions or family prescriptions. Sudden change in friends, their favorite hangouts have changed and their hobbies may change. Being more secretive about their friends, possessions, and activities. Acting uncharacteristically isolated, withdrawn, or depressed when they're coming down from their highs. Frequently getting into trouble, fights, accidents, criminal charges, illegal activity. Psychological warning signs of drug abuse are unexplained change in personality or attitude, sudden mood swings, irritability, or angry outbursts, and periods of unusual hyperactivity, agitation, or giddiness. And their lack of motivation, they often feel or appear lethargic or spaced out. So treatment, what we do is we go out and, as school resource officers, we teach classes to the kids. We offer classes to the parents, and we educate do some early prevention, and encourage drug tests. There's a few places here in town at Fort Collins, pretty much every community has them, or your local doctor's office. You can test for drugs. The center is another option that we use here in the community. It's a nonprofit agency which offers education, intervention, and support for families who are challenged by the adolescent years. And one of their core beliefs is to create programs and support systems to help the youth and families sustain long-term positive changes within their family unit. So the center is strength-based, designed around the family dynamics. Our programming, or their programming, helps parents better understand the needs of their children and how to be open and honest and communicate with them, and can strengthen trust in family and the family relationships. So they offer classes in drugs and alcohol, addictions, anger, and conflict, critical skills, self-esteem building skills, those kind of things, and a parenting series on adolescence. Lori Cliff is the director at the center, and she's a great contact. So feel free to call either one of us if we can be of service for you. Any questions from the audience? There's quick tests that you can buy over the counter at like Walgreens or Walmart, King Soopers, and that'll tell you right away if it's positive or negative. Now, depending on the drug that you're testing for, or the drug that's detected, for example, like marijuana, if your son or daughter were to have smoked every single day for the last month, their THC levels will be higher. You're not going to get that from a quick test from Walgreens. So that's where you're going to want to use your doctor's office or day reporting center, places like that. The center here, they can refer you to some places where you can test the levels to see if your child is going up or down. Are they continuing to use, so their THC levels are going up, or as you're testing them, do those levels keep dropping and eventually become zero? Yeah, and a lot of times what I find is it's cheaper to go through your doctor's office or like the day reporting center. It's like $20 to $30 to buy it at like Walgreens or Walmart. But sometimes families want that. They don't want a trail of the fact that they went in and got tested. They can easily just go buy it over the counter and know within an hour. And I always encourage parents to just go buy one and leave it up on the refrigerator for any time, just those random tests. And it's not a question or some kids say, well, you don't trust me, that's why you're doing this. No, this is to build trust. Because when I randomly give it to you and it's clean, we're building trust. And you're building more opportunity to branch out and do your own things.